Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Planning and Development Committee meeting of December 4th, 2024. Niagara Region and Grimsby are situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattaway-Wendarong, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The Regional Municipality of Niagara and the Town of Grimsby stand with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder to approve the agenda? Moved by Member Drew, second by Member Potter. Moved by Member Drew, second by Member Potter. Resolved that the agenda of the December 4th, 2024 Planning and Development Committee meeting be approved. All in favor? That's carried. Can I have a mover and seconder for the previous to receive the previous minutes? Member Potter, Member Drew. Moved by Member Potter, second by Member Drew. Resolved that the October 30th, 2024 Planning and Development Committee meeting minutes be received. All in favor?
From Mr. Chair?
Yes.
There was no minutes in the pack.
That's an error.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. All right, I think they'll be added.
Yeah.
They'll be added to the official minutes. All right, so that's all in favor? That's carried. We will now move into the public meeting for the zoning bylaw amendment application at 152 Main Street West. The premise of this public meeting is to provide an opportunity for the public to provide input on the proposed application. I would like to stress that there have been no decisions or recommendations made by council or planning staff on these applications. This meeting is conducted in accordance with the town's procedural bylaw. All participants are asked to conduct themselves with decorum and respect and provide the opportunity for all members of the public to express their opinion in an environment of tolerance on all points of view and free of intimidation. The intent is to create a venue to encourage people to participate in the process and provide their input. If a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the Council of the Town of Grimsby to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Town of Grimsby before the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is adopted, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Town of Grimsby before the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is adopted, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing or of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal, unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. With us this evening are Chloe Andre, Stephen Fraser of A.J. Clark and Associates. Planning staff in attendance includes town planner Sarup Sandhu, the assistant director of planning, Walter Basic, and the supervisor of planning, Terry Donia Edwards. Tonight we will start with staff providing a brief presentation outlining the process and an overview of the application from a planning perspective. Next, there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions and provide input. If you have not already done so, please ensure you have signed in so you will be informed of future meetings on this proposal. As we navigate the public meeting, we ask all participants for your patience. Each participant will be called in order and will be provided 10 minutes to speak. Each presenter may speak only once. If you hear your comment presented by someone else, please do not duplicate the remarks. All comments are being recorded and will be taken into consideration. When you are called, we ask that you state your name and address. Persons addressing council shall confine their remarks to the business at hand and shall direct all their comments or questions to the chair. Staff are taking notes of all the questions asked this evening. At the end of the delegations, planning staff will be asked to respond to all questions and comments raised. If you feel that your questions have not been responded to this evening, you can email planning department at planning@grimsby.ca. Sarup will now give a presentation. Please come to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Swaroop Sandhu. I am the planner at the town representing this file. I want to thank you all for taking your time to come out this evening. So the project that we're discussing this evening is a proposed zoning bylaw amendment at 152 Main Street West. Next slide. Okay, so to begin this public meeting, I will be going through a short presentation, providing you all with some insight into the planning process for this application and a brief introduction to the proposed site. The applicant and the agent represented here, Chloe Andre and Stephen Fraser, AJ Clark, are also here to provide greater detail to this application. Following this presentation, there will be time to ask questions and provide any comments or concerns about this application. Next slide. So just to go over the purpose of tonight's meeting, we would like to provide you all with an overview of the planning process for these types of applications. This includes the process from start to finish and where exactly the town is in the current process for this application. An overview of the policy and regulatory frameworks will also be provided, including the relevant official plan policies and zoning provisions that are in place. Any feedback that has been provided will be touched upon. Next slide. So why can plans or bylaws change? So under the Planning Act, authority is provided to submit applications for development plans that may not meet the current official plan or zoning bylaw. The town's role is to process these applications that come in. These applications are only able to be amended specifically in zoning bylaw applications if they're determined that the changes comply with the intent of the official plan. As a result, that these changes of the proposed changes in development are compatible with the surrounding area. Next slide. So here's a flow chart of where we are in the current process. So these are the major milestones in the planning process for this particular application. So the process often begins with a pre-consultation meeting with town staff and any relevant commenting agencies. For example, the region or the Conservation Authority may provide comments at this stage. This meeting essentially is to outline requirements for as the application moves forward, or if the applicant chooses to move the application forward to an official submission. So once the application is ready, the applicant submits the required documents and fees to the town and reviews it for completion. Upon completion, a notice is sent out to those agencies, once again asking for comments on a formal submission. Comments that are provided in the first submission are included in the public meeting. The public is also provided notice for comments. This process often includes a newspaper notice, a notice to local neighborhoods, residents around the area, as well as a notice being posted on our current applications at grimsby.ca. We are currently at the public meeting stage, highlighted in the middle, which provides an opportunity for the comments to be made about this application in public. At this stage, initial agency comments will be reviewed or will be provided within an information report, and any revisions that need to be made post this meeting will be considered in a recommendation report that will go to council under the prescribed timelines of the Planning Act. A decision on this application will be made at a future council meeting with the opportunity to appeal that decision afterwards. Next slide. So the planning process is an open process, so it allows the public to have a say. The public meeting is only one of the many opportunities to give your opinion on this application. In addition, you can write a letter or email letter into the town or email us at planning@grimsby.ca. You can also send a copy of your letter or email to your counselors as an alternative, and all comments regarding this file will be received up until the recommendation report is prepared. Next slide. So stay informed. To stay informed about this application, we invite you to provide your mailing address or your email. In doing so, you will receive future notices for future meetings, information on how to obtain a staff report, information report, or recommendation report, especially if anything is being presented in front of committee or council. Next slide. Okay, so now we're going to get into the file itself. So these are the subject lands highlighted in red. So you can see that the rectangular shaped parcel is located on the south side of the larger property, and it is located exactly on the intersection of Main Street and Andrew Street. The subject lands are owned by are currently owned by the larger ownership of the St. Andrew's Catholic Church, and the surrounding area consists of other facilities such as cemetery under same ownership. North of the property is a secondary school, which I believe currently is a French immersion school, but used to be the Grimsby Secondary School. The site is currently occupied by a single detached dwelling. I want to note that the property itself, so 152 Main Street West, is designated as a designated property under the Heritage Act. Next slide. Okay, so this was the concept plan provided in the formal application. So essentially, in the concept plan outlines how the ZBA is being processed. The applicant is proposing a zoning bylaw amendment to permit an institutional use. So the proposed development consists of expanding a preschool to utilize a single detached dwelling on the subject lands with the permission of the St. Andrew's Anglican Church. Oh, I'm sorry. I said Catholic earlier on. I want to correct that. St. Andrew's Anglican Church. Apologies for that.
And just if I can interrupt, it's St. Andrews Avenue. It's
apologies for that as well.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
okay.
The proposal consists of a change of use on the subject lands and does not include any alterations to this existing built form. Only interior renovations will be required to facilitate the expansion of the preschool. Additionally, I want to note that parking is to be provided on the abutting lot. Next slide. The subject lands are highlighted in red here once again, and this is Schedule B in the Town of Grimsby's official plan. This excerpt of the official plan shows that under the official plan, the designated land use is an institutional area. More information on the relevant plan and policy can be found in Appendix 6 of the information report under PA-24-29. Next slide. This is an excerpt of our schedule for the zoning bylaw amendment 1445. This is Schedule 2A. Once again, the property is highlighted in red, and you can see here that the property is currently zoned MS, which permits the current use, which is a residential detached dwelling. And so the zoning bylaw is to permit an institutional use to align with the institutional zoning of the adjacent church lands. The excerpts of the zoning bylaw 1445 can be found in Appendix D of the information report PA 2529. Next slide. Here I have highlighted some comments. The application was circulated to external agencies and internal departments of the review for review and comments. The full comment matrix of the agencies that did respond is provided in Appendix B of the staff report PA 2429. I want to note that no conditions or objections were raised or received. The notable here is that Heritage staff indicated support for the application, but they do want to make it very clear that the applicant is to consult with Heritage staff if any physical alterations to the site occur, so as a Heritage permit may be required upon further review. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you for your presentation, Sarup. Now we will open the floor to members of the public. If there's any members of the public that want to speak, you can go up to the podium now. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Members of committee, good evening. My name is Steve Fraser. I'm a registered professional planner with AJ Clark & Associates. I want to thank Sarup for the presentation this evening. It's quite detailed. I'm here on behalf of the owner, St. Andrew's Anglican Church, as well as the Grimsby Community Preschool, who are already occupying a portion of the abutting lands for their current daycare use. Joining me this evening is Melissa McLaughlin, who is the executive director of the preschool. And her and I are here if there are any questions related to the file itself. From a planning perspective, I could certainly answer those. And then from an operational perspective of the daycare, Melissa's been kind enough to respond to those if there are any. So as Sarup alluded to, the main purpose of the zoning amendment is to simply change the land use on the subject lands 152 Main Street West to permit an institutional use, specifically a daycare use, to allow for the expansion of the current daycare operation on the abutting lands. As Sarup alluded to, the designation of the subject lands in the town's official plan is institutional. So this application is an implementation tool afforded to town staff to ensure that that land use within the official plan is implemented. And again, there's no physical changes that are occurring to the site and the abutting lands. The function of the existing site and abutting lands will continue to remain for the daycare. And so there's no physical amendments happening to the site. It's strictly going to remain as is, just adding the use to the subject lands. So those are my submission, Your Worship. I'm happy to answer any questions of the public or committee.
Great, thank you,
Thank you.
Steve. Members of the committee, any questions? Member Drew.
Thank you, through the chair. Can you confirm the planned traffic flow in terms of drop-off and pickup for the daycare facility?
Through the chair, I may defer that one to Melissa if I could. It's more of an operational than it is a land use matter, so.
Hi there. So currently, our program runs in the current building from 9 until 3. So drop-off starts at 9 o'clock and pickup is at 3. Our plan for the other location is to do an earlier start, to do like an 8:30 drop-off and potentially a later pickup, which would be a 5 p.m. pickup. So there wouldn't be 50 cars all arriving at the same time. We would do a staggered start time at each location, and a staggered pickup time at each location as well, utilizing the same parking area.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So it's a parking adjacent on the west side of the building that
Yep.
you're referring to?
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Member Potter?
Well, thanks for the presentation, and really no material questions. I mean, obviously it's all going to abide by whatever code it requires for daycare and all that sort of thing, so that's not what this is about. My only thought is, as long as all the parties here are in agreement with the church and the daycare, and it's all been, the relationship is all solid and everything, in general, and I hear the heritage comments, making sure if in the future you put a fence around the property because of corralling the kids, whatever word you're allowed to use today, that's a heritage thing for the future. But as we all know, in this area of Niagara and in Ontario, we are there's a deficit of daycare spaces, depending age appropriate, all that sort of thing. As an employer in the area, I know we struggle with availability of daycare in the area. So, pending confirmation this is all good, I'm encouraged, and I thank the group here that's actually trying to solve this challenge. I think it's a good one. One question for that, though, is how many more spaces does it basically open up? I know it's not part of the approval required here, but just out of interest.
Hoping to add about another 20 spaces. Our current wait list has about 260 children on it for our location alone, and that's just for preschool age. So again, we currently are licensed for 48 at our current location, hoping to add another 20 at 152.
Thank you.
Seeing no questions or comments, adding more spaces for daycare certainly in Niagara is really important, and our deficit is massive. And just seeing a property utilized, certainly in my opinion, more effectively than just as a rental unit, I'm really happy that this is happening, and I think it's a good use. Seeing no further questions, Councillor Bradzi, I know you're online. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead now.
Yeah, Mayor Jordan, thank you. I just want to agree with everything you just said too. Fantastic that increased services coming to the community. Love to see it. Thanks for bringing this forward.
Great, and seeing no more further questions or comments, thank you for your participation in the public meeting. Staff will take back the feedback, and please contact staff at planning@grimsby.ca if you have any additional comments or questions about the proposal after this evening. The public meeting portion of tonight's agenda is now over. Thank you. Can I have a mover and seconder to get the proposed zoning bylaw amendment report on the floor for discussion? Moved by Member Potter, second by Member Drew. Moved by Member Potter, second by Member Drew. Resolved that report PA 24-39, proposed zoning bylaw amendment at 152 Main Street West dated December 4th, 2024 be received for information. All in favor? That's carried. Is there any other business pertaining to the committee? Seeing none, the next Planning and Development Committee meeting will be held on January 8th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Good evening, everyone. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.